I felt like I'd failed, and I had this decision in front of me that was, do I sacrifice my mental health, my happiness, lots of my life to become a director, or do I instead prioritize my mental health and my happiness?
On this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we are joined by the incredible Camilla De Burghe.
So, can you share with our listeners a little bit more about your business and the unique aspects that set it apart?
Of course. So I am a career coach. I run my own business. I'll start by putting my teeth in, clearly, coaching. And I help women to love their career. So I offer one-to-one coaching. I work with businesses that love to support and empower their female staff. And I also work with community platforms. And love, let's face it, is a really, really big word. And it's certainly come from my story, which I can't wait to share with you. And also the fact that never fails to bamboozle me that we spend on average 90,000 hours in our career at work over our lifetime. And for me, it just feels wild that you could spend all of those hours not enjoying it, hating it, maybe just tolerating it. Or when you have those conversations with your family as you do, and they go, how's work? And they go, yeah, good, all right. No, I feel that you really should be able to love your career. And again, it comes back to love being that big word. And really what I've tried to get to the root of in my coaching business is, what is that love? How can I help women to love their career? And for me, that almost comes down to 5 key ingredients, as I like to call them. It's that confidence. So feeling really confident in your role, not having those horrible stomach sinking feelings of imposter syndrome, designing that work-life balance that works for you so that you can be the best that you can be without working yourself into the ground, which I think is a massive misconception, that we can only get really far in our career whilst killing ourselves in the process. Becoming a go-to expert in your role, helping with those key skills, setting yourself up for success as well. That's something that I massively see with women that are doing amazingly in their careers, but they are doing it by themselves, when actually if you surround yourself with that support team, that really helps, especially during those challenging moments. And of course, last one, just finding the career that you actually love and makes you happy. And we can all, and I certainly did it for years, feel very, very stuck and trapped for whatever reasons in our career, or deny ourselves success, when actually, no, it's okay to really, really chase what you love. So that's very much what I'm all about.
Wow. Sounds incredible. But I think you're right, that stat of the 900,000, is
90,000
90,000 hours.
Wow.
Doing a job that no longer sets your soul on fire.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time wasted, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that, that old saying as well, that we should not live to work, but work to live.
Yeah.
That our work gives us capacity to be able to do the things that we enjoy, but that shouldn't mean that we're not enjoying it while we're actually working as well.
Yeah, like I'm massively about having fun at work. I feel that actually that's such an important part of being able to do whatever you're doing, enjoy it, have fun, and feel passionate. And with so many women, I think there's also a stat, the latest one is that nearly 80% of women struggle with their confidence at work. But when you're having fun, when you feel passionate, when you feel like you can be unapologetically you, that's all going to help you be the best that you can be at work, and also go home feeling really happy. It's not all just about work.
Yeah,
I love that. So what's your journey then before starting this business? Then what inspired you to start the business?
Yeah, so I took, I guess, more of an unconventional route into coaching. So at university, I actually trained as an architect. I did 3 years. Terrible architect. And then I went on to a master's in urban design, luckily a much better urban designer. But by the time I came out of that, it was 2009. So it was the middle of the recession. Built environment industry roles were just non-existent. The only thing that I could get was a 3-week work experience placement. And I took it and I turned up to that office and I set one foot in through the door and I just thought, I am not leaving. No one is getting rid of me. And I stayed there for 14 years. So I'll chalk that as a win.
You did well at sticking in. Were you paid to stay there 14 years, or was this like squatters' rights?
A bit of both, to be perfectly honest.
No one will make me move.
So I did that, and For the first 5 years, I was a woman on a mission, and I really took a lot of responsibility, a lot of ownership. I really, really honed my key skills. And I got to the point when I was 27, I became an associate. So that's sort of a senior role in the company. The next step was becoming a director. And on paper, I had this incredible job. Like, there was so much to be grateful for. But there was a lot going on behind the scenes for me, and these little red flags were popping up. I worked crazy hours. My work took me all over the country. So a lot of the time I was living out of hotels. There were sacrifices in terms of the time that I was spending with my family and my friends. And I was also putting crazy amounts of pressure on myself to be perfect. I am a perfectionist. And it was a demanding job, and I was putting a lot of pressure on top of myself. And at that point, when I was 27, it was a very male-dominated industry. I was often going into rooms, being the only one representing my discipline, my company, but being in a male-dominated environment where people had like 10 years worth of experience on me, even more. And that was really, really tough to live up to. So I sort of had these red flags popping up. But what did I do? I carried
Ignored
on.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Turn them white in your head.
I carried on, and I set myself this goal to become a director by the time I was 30. And by this point, there was no stopping me. And I was all about work, and I really, really tied my self-worth to work as well. It was all I ever talked about outside of work as well. I was Miss Work. And the company supported me on this journey, which was great. But my mental health was really, really deteriorating at this point. And outwardly, I was putting on this facade, especially in the industry. And at that point to go, it was very much like man up and get on with it as well. That was sort of the mantra in the industry. You do just get on with it. But behind the scenes, I was really, really struggling. And I had this day where I had a very routine call about my directorship, sort of the journey to it, what I needed to do. And I thought, I'm going to have to, I guess at the time I felt like I needed to come clean and say, yes, I really want all of these things. I feel that I can do the things that you want me to do. But my mental health is really struggling and I'm very, very anxious. And unfortunately, that support just wasn't there. It was very difficult to find mentors at the time because there was such a lack of female representation. And I was different. I was female, and, none of my work is about saying, I had a fantastic male manager. It's not about bashing men. No. But we all learn, we all communicate, we all process our thoughts differently. And I was different. And I didn't quite know what to do. And I don't think other people knew what to do either. And so I felt like I'd failed. And I had this decision in front of me that was, do I sacrifice my mental health, my happiness, lots of my life to become a director? Or do I instead prioritize my mental health and my happiness? And I chose the latter, but for years I felt like I'd failed. And it took me to a really, really dark place. But at the back of my mind, when I'd had that conversation and I'd had that terrible day, I always knew that I wanted to be that support for someone else, another woman that was in that situation, just thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do now? And I embarked on that journey, and that journey took me to coaching.
We always say your darkest moments can become the springboards to your biggest successes if you let them. And I think it takes an incredibly strong person to be able to use their dark time as a way of shining a light forward for someone else. Yeah. And wow, that you've done that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It is an incredible thing to be able to support people in their darkest time, knowing that you have been at that place yourself.
Yeah, thank you. That really, really means so much. And I think also at work, and I specialise with working with women in built environment roles. There is still a very traditional sense to that industry. And there are a lot of women out there suffering in silence, not knowing what to do, not knowing the steps to take, not wanting to show any sign of weakness that could damage their career progression at work. When in fact, sometimes we just all need that helping hand. And sometimes it can be even better to have that helping hand that is in a safe, non-judgmental environment that encourages you to become the best version of you, and not maybe we all have incredibly well-meaning people in our lives at work, but everyone has got their slight biases, and it's all about figuring out really what is right for you.
Yeah, because I think as a woman in particular, we're expected to carry so much, aren't we? You know, work, children, family, carers' responsibilities as we age and our families, you know, get older. We take on that sort of role as well. The, you know, community sort of based role, expected to be great friends, and we can't compartmentalize all those parts of our life, and neither should we be expected to. So when we step into a work role, it's really sad that mental health and saying I'm struggling at the moment is still seen as a sign of weakness and as a sign of, well, we can't give you any more, then we can't pay you well to take on this next part of your role, even though your capacity's more than there, because that's going to, you know, all of this other stuff that you've got going on is going to impact that. So you'll be overlooked again.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens so often. And so what we see is women either putting up and shutting up and getting on and doing those roles, or they get to the point where they think, I'd rather not have those conversations, so I'll leave. And our women leave the workplace in droves to pick up the other bits that they can't let go. You know, that they just can't, you know, they haven't got the luxury of saying that's not mine. It's a sad space.
Agree. It is, and I feel that there was also, for me in some ways, and I think again it still exists out there, that you've got to become, for instance, a leader in one way, and that's got to be by always making your voice heard and doing X, Y, Z. And actually, it's all about finding your own way, finding your own style. But that really does involve people around you being open and encouraging and supportive of you finding that. And unfortunately, that culture was still very much lacking.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you find most fulfilling then about the work that you do?
Just seeing women go on this journey to loving their career and actually realising that they can make it work for them. And, you know, we all say these little words, you know, I'll try, I hope. No, actually, you can, you will. And really believing in themselves and that they can make whatever their version of career success
really empowered then
actually happen. And that's what I love, is seeing women go on this journey. And I think with coaching, it's very, very well publicised and well known that a lot of it is about goal setting and getting you to that version of whatever success is. But for me, and having had coaching myself, I just think the whole journey is that incredible part, because of course, achieving whatever we want to get to is amazing, but it's how we feel along the way. It's actually thinking, I've got the confidence to do this. I'm actually managing to make, say, my work-life balance, something that is so important to me, work for me so that I'm happier outside of work. I actually know, and I'm celebrating all these amazing skills that I can see in myself, and I'm not afraid to tell other people about them as well. So that is what I find incredibly fulfilling.
And there's a real thing, isn't there, about the research behind goal setting, and actually when you reach that goal, you know, like, for example, had you been made director, had you gone down that path, would you have gone, do you know what, I've worked for 20 years to get this, like, wow, I've made it. Like, the research shows that actually when you get to the goal, you go, oh yeah, and the joy is in the journey. The joy is in the steps and the progress that you're making and the action. And that's people. Where the joy is along the way, not necessarily the goal, and yet we're all told to focus on the end goal, aren't they? You know, I'll be happy when I'm 11 stone 7. I'll be happy when I'm this. I'll be happy when actually, you know, what is going on along that journey?
That's it. And it is incredible. And I think that's where you've got the goal, but understanding what it gives you is so much more important, because along the way, you're getting that sense, you're getting those things of what that goal is giving you along the way. And you reach the end and it's the icing on the cake. And I think that's where some of the typical things, you know, people that are chasing success, well, what is that success actually going to give you? So it's really important to get to the root of that.
So if there was like a woman sat at home now listening to this, or on a run, or wherever she is, what would be the 3 top tips that you would give her if she was feeling a bit disillusioned and related to your saying that, you know, we should love our careers and you can be happy? Where does she start?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I love that. I think it's always important if you're saying, and a lot of us are very feeling based, and again, confidence, happiness, those are all big things, but actually understanding what it means to you. Like confidence, for instance, is a nominalization. So we all go around thinking, yes, we know what confidence is. And then we sit down and we go, what is it? Because we're chasing it. It's something that we're always chasing. So it's really important that if you are chasing something like confidence, happiness, fulfillment at work, knowing what that actually means to you. Because if you do, you can understand practically what you need to do to work on. So that would be one. Number 2 is always going to be down to values. And really getting clear on your values. And it was only when I started my coaching course that I wrote all of my values very enthusiastically down. And then I wrote a lot of values that were associated with my career and the general industry. And there I had it, black and white, on paper, massive conflict. And I was sat there for years thinking something was, you know, wrong with me for not liking a job that I should be really grateful for almost to have. So I think values is always something to really, really help, because they become that framework for your decisions, whether you want to move into your career and lean into certain things that really align with your values, or actually go, no, I need to start thinking if this is really right for me. I think lastly is always just giving yourself some credit. It's really, really easy for us to feel a bit down about what we're doing, feel like we should be doing something better, feel like something didn't go to plan, when actually we should just be going, I showed up for myself this week. I've tried my best. And I'm going to celebrate that, and I'm going to back myself, and I'm actually just going to take the time to notice what I'm doing really well, what I'm amazing at. And that can really, really help, because that's just all about the feel-good vibes.
Yeah, I love that. That's really practical. I do love a good practical, actionable takeaway.
Yes. I love that. So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
It would definitely be helping women to treat themselves with the kindness and the compassion that they deserve. And we've touched upon it so much. Like, we are all in our lives, in whatever capacity, work, outside of work, running around like just chicken for a lot of it. There is a reality, like life is a lot. And work can really, really be a lot. And I really, really want to be known for just helping women to be kinder to themselves, to make decisions for themselves with compassion, and go, it's okay to do what works for me. It's okay to listen to what I need and actually action that. So yeah, I mean, that's something that I could talk about for hours, but that would be the headline of what I'd like to be remembered for.
Amazing.
And if you could spill the tea with anybody or have a cup of tea with anyone, who would that be?
Do you know what? This question has genuinely given me inner turmoil, because I feel like It would be a massive, massive party. Do you know what? Something that really, really fascinates me is sports psychology. I'm a massive, massive sport watcher.
Really?
And that is because I'm an incredibly feelings-based person. I'm very emotive. I'll be that person clapping, crying at the TV when someone's absolutely nailing it. And I love being in touch with my feelings, but I also love how sports psychology is very much about having a very strong mindset, almost an evidence-based, factual mindset. It's not going to plan what exactly can we do to make this work. So I think on that basis, I absolutely love the tennis player Coco Gauff, and she won the US Open when she was just 19. And I'll never forget the winning speech that she gave when she said, do you know what? I've seen all of the comments in the build up to this tournament saying that I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, there are people better than me, that I'm just not going to win it. And I took all of that and I channeled it into winning this. So thank you so much for telling me all of that, because I've gone and done it and that's helped me get where I am today. So in terms of, she just looks like amazing fun to be around. And also that mindset to be able to take that negativity and of course with amazing dedication, training, just being amazing at what she does, taking that into winning a major tournament at just the age of 19. I would love to spill the tea with her.
She does sound incredible.
Yeah.
I think we should all take a piece of that inspiration, shouldn't
absolutely,
we?
because that would be something that I don't know if we could push through, seeing negative comments, and people say don't read the comments, don't they? Don't read the comments, but obviously she's just gone, I'm reading it, I'm going to channel it and it's going to make me want it even more.
Yeah, and I'll take it.
Which is amazing. So at the spilling of the tea, if you were to make your special guest the nicest cup of tea, no teapot is to be seen, how would you make that?
Right, so I may just need to leave because I am not a tea lover. I've been sat and keeping very, very quiet on this. I've gone on my own tea journey over the last year, which to be fair,
I do love tea.
That's interesting.
So I must admit, I've just been a lifelong hater of tea. I know, it's sad, isn't it?
Do your family drink tea?
Not really either. So I've been trying to take my first steps into drinking tea. I know the things that go on in my life. So I started with peppermint tea, and a few weeks ago I went to a cafe and they said, no, we don't have that. So I took another daring step into citrus tea.
Right.
So you never know, next time we talk, maybe I will have taken even more steps on my tea journey.
Yeah.
But in terms of making a cup of tea, I mean, again, it would be shocking. Occasionally my other half is just like, please, can you? And I'm like, oh goodness. I'm letting everyone down here, not just him, but all of the tea drinkers of the nation. It would be put the tea bag in, put the water and top it up a bit with milk and just hope for the best.
So your tea bag would be in the water with the milk at the same time.
That would be it. And then I would try and make some judgment
right, you're letting
about
the whole nation down.
Yeah, I know. I need to go. Let's scratch this podcast. Up
till then, you were an incredible guest.
I know,
really inspirational. Loved having you.
I know. There's a reason why I've left it until last, so I can make a very direct exit. It's been lovely to meet you.
Well, I think you make tea a perfect way. And I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, and it's a good cup of tea.
Yeah.
You've got that strength. You know when to take it out. You can add a little bit more milk in if you need to. It just depends, because you do get those fussy people who just a splash of milk, or just, oh no, that's too much. And you do get those people. And I think you even just making a cup of tea, not being a tea drinker, is, I think that's really brave.
Thank you. I must admit, in my university days, I did a lot of temping, and it was exactly that, when you had 10 people to try and make tea for that all had very exact needs. So I probably started letting tea drinkers down at quite a young age.
But you're okay with that.
I'm surviving.
Okay.
I'm on my own tea journey in 2020.
I love that. I think maybe we need you back next year as well to see how that. Yeah, definitely a tea journey.
Tea across the country.
I absolutely love this. Well, you have been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for spilling the tea on your journey in business.
And on tea.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much.